That most concerning economic indicator right now is U.S. unemployment. The U.S. unemployment rate remains the most concerning economic indicator. The unemployment rate hit 10.2% in October due to the loss of 190,000 more jobs. Payrolls have declined for 22 consecutive months, and the number of people unemployed since December of 2007 is approaching 8 million. This is the highest unemployment rate since April of 1983. This high jobless rate is the #1 concern of the Obama administration, but handcuffed by an already record high budget deficit, they are unable to throw more major stimulus money at the problem. A year ago, many subscribers were shocked when I made several comments after Obama won the election that there was a high probability that he would be a one-term president. At the time, he had the highest approval rating of any president in history. Yet we are already starting to see some evidence of my prediction. This past week, the Republicans won control of 2 state governorships in states where the weak economy figured prominently. Evidently, those voters were not happy with the Democrats' performance. 18 months ago, I began referring to the current downturn as the Great Recession. I coined this term because of the many comparisons being made between the current situation and the Great Depression of the 1930s. A little less than a year ago, in January of 2008, we saw monthly job losses peak at 791,000 jobs. Compare this to the 2001 recession, when monthly job losses hit a high of 325,000 jobs. Before that, during the 1990 and 91 recession, job losses peaked at 306,000. The sheer numbers are staggering in this recession. We are definitely experiencing a much more extreme recession than any of us have experienced in our lifetime. That is, unless you are over 90 years old, and even then, you may not have been old enough to remember much about it. Since World War II, the unemployment rate has topped 10% only 2 times. The first time was from September of 1982 to June of 1983. The second time is right now. Right now, close to 16 million Americans are out of work. When we expand those numbers to include underemployed people and discouraged workers who have stopped looking for work, we could be looking at an unemployment rate of closer to 20%. People think that unemployment is always bad, but in fact it is harder now than it's ever been before. Compared to the average unemployed worker in 1982, Americans now have 3 times as much debt and less than half the savings. Unemployment is now lasting 10 weeks longer than it did in 1982, and most concerning, more unemployed people from now on have no health insurance, which leaves them only one medical emergency away from bankruptcy. In 1982, the average American carried about $14,000 in today's debt in mortgages, credit cards, auto loans, and other consumer debt. Today, the average American carries $46,000 in debt. In addition, Americans saved slightly less than $1,000 per person last year, while in 1982, that average American saved more than $2,500. With no liquid cash on hand to pay debts, the foreclosure rate is 7 times higher now than it was in 1982, and 3 times as many Americans are going to be bankrupt now as were in 1982. However, there are also some benefits to being unemployed now as opposed to 1982 and 83. One reason is that, adjusted for inflation, benefits are more generous now. And nowadays, technology allows job seekers to shop for jobs from home via the internet. It is very difficult for the economy to fully recover with these high unemployment numbers. Consumer spending drives 70% of the U.S. economy and is severely impacted as consumers worry about their jobs and their cash flow. Also, foreclosures will continue to increase as consumers lose their jobs.